Up next, the search is on for the fiance and person of interest in the Gabby Petito disappearance case. And the U.S. government is targeting ransomware groups that extorted millions from major American companies. Plus, dozens walk to help bring an end to Alzheimer's. Valley News Live at 6 starts now.
This is Valley News Live at 6.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. It was a very windy day, but it helped bring a bit of a warm up, which is expected to last through tomorrow. Summer's here now with a first look at the forecast. Hey, Summer.
Good evening to you, Nishay, and thank you everyone for tuning in for Valley News Live at 6 o'clock. We have quite the spread in temperatures across the region. It's coolest across northwestern Minnesota with near seasonal temperatures in the low 70s. In Fargo and Grand Forks, both at 78. But check this out, 80 degrees in Jamestown, 85 in Bismarck, 95 degrees in Hettinger, so sizzling heat out in central and western North Dakota. We'll start to see a little bit of that heat nudge its way to the east for tomorrow, but nonetheless, it's been a very mild day. It's thanks to the wind. Here's a live look at that Dakota Magics Casino Skycam network. Right now, the wind is out of the south in the most part. Sustained at 13 miles per hour in Jamestown, gusting to 26 miles per hour. We had a recent gust to 30 miles per hour here in Fargo, 35 mile per hour gust in Grand Forks, 25 mile per hour gust in Foston. And unfortunately, that wind is not going anywhere tonight. Usually we see the wind start to die down after sunset. That's not going to be the case for today. The good news, if you have any plans outdoors tonight, things are looking quiet, but our next system is on the way. Nishay, coming up, I'll be talking about your hour-by-hour forecast for when we might see rain and even some thunderstorms.
All right, yeah, that wind is no joke. My mat on my balcony just kept flipping all over the place.
Yeah.
All right, thanks so much, Summer. A young woman has died following a multi-vehicle crash involving a crane and a pickup truck. The North Dakota Highway Patrol says the crash happened just south of Killdeer on Highway 22 around 4:30 p.m. yesterday. The report says a 24-year-old woman from Dickinson crossed the center line and sideswiped a crane, causing her vehicle to spin out in the road. A pickup truck coming from behind the crane then smashed into the woman's vehicle. The crash caused the woman to be thrown from her car. She later died on the scene. The driver of the crane and the pickup were not seriously injured. And authorities in Florida are searching for the fiance and person of interest in the Gabby Petito missing persons case. This morning, crews were searching for Brian Laundrie at a nature reserve in Venice, Florida. Laundrie returned home to Northport on September 1st without Petito. The couple had been traveling together on a cross-country road trip. On September 11th, Petito's family reported her missing. Now authorities can't locate Laundrie. His family says the last time they saw him was on Tuesday. Hundreds gathered outside the nation's capital today in support of those who were involved in the January 6th protests. They are supporting insurrectionists charged in the deadly January 6th riot. According to the Department of Justice, at least 610 individuals have been federally charged for their involvement in the riot. The Justice for J6 rally, as organizers have called it, was led by Matt Brainerd, a former staffer for President Donald Trump. He said the rally was about equal treatment. Ransomware groups that have extorted millions of dollars from major U.S. companies are soon to become targets themselves. The Treasury Department says they plan to impose sanctions on an entity in the cryptocurrency market as early as next week. Treasury officials would also issue new guidance to companies on how to avoid running into conflict with U.S. law when making ransomware payments to criminals. The coming action would represent the most direct move yet by the Biden administration to go after ransomware groups that lock up computers and demand payment with hard-to-trace cryptocurrency. U.S. officials are stepping in to handle the situation in Del Rio, Texas, as thousands of Haitian migrants have set up camp along the U.S.-Mexico border. The Department of Homeland Security plans to ramp up deportation flights to Haiti soon. Officials say one flight went out Wednesday and that the flights will continue. Many of the Haitians currently at the border are believed to have been living in South America since The 2010 earthquake in Haiti, but the toll of the pandemic on the region fueled migration to the U.S. southern border. The U.S. has reached 42 million COVID-19 cases since the start of the pandemic. This increase comes just a week after the country reached 41 million cases. There have been more than 676,000 deaths reported so far. Hospitals in Minnesota are still feeling the strains brought on by the ongoing coronavirus pandemic, and it's also continuing to take a toll on healthcare workers.
We are frankly in a challenging place.
Dr. Andrew Olson is the director of hospital medicine at the U of M Medical Center. He says hospital and ICU capacity across the state is stressed because of COVID, delayed healthcare, and staffing challenges.
There is enough COVID in the ICUs right now that makes it challenging for a patient with simple pneumonia who's very sick from it, or a patient who's perhaps had a bad heart attack, to find a bed in an expeditious manner.
Hospital systems work together to find space, but that means other things that can be pushed are.
There are often procedures that are time sensitive, that need to get done, that are being delayed longer than we would typically like, because we don't have the inpatient capacity across the state.
Well, he says they will find a way to always take care of all patients. COVID patients, the majority who are unvaccinated, are taxing the system.
The best way to get the numbers of COVID patients in the system and in our state down is vaccination. We can decrease severe illness, hospitalization, and death. Vaccination is the answer to that.
And he says the confluence of issues is taking a toll on healthcare workers.
To know that some of this is preventable and it's harder than it should be, it feels like quite a change from last year when we were all in this together.
The Treasury Department is out with a tally of how much has been spent in COVID relief funds since the American Rescue Program was signed into law. The government says it has shelled out about $700 billion of $1 trillion set aside for relief. $450 billion of those funds were distributed directly to families and households through stimulus payments and child tax credits. A memorial honoring those who have died from COVID-19 has made its way to the U.S. Capitol. Last year, an artist created an outdoor installation comprised of more than 267,000 white flags, one for every American who had died. This year, the display has grown to 650,000 flags. People can dedicate an individual flag to a loved one lost to COVID-19, either in person or online. Later on Valley News Live at 6. Several people walked this morning to help end Alzheimer's.
And we have one decent chance of some rain in the forecast. That's going to come up tomorrow night and through the day on Monday. Very dry the rest of the week. Hour by hour details are coming up next.